Greetings to everyone, and welcome to another lovely day here on celebrating Filipino entrepreneurs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm back here with some amazing people. I can't wait for you guys to meet them. He is an amazing person that's been a visionary all throughout media. We are in our fourth episode of season two, and so anxious to bring him on. He's a person who's given a voice to many Filipinos, and very, very excited that he's been able to spend a few minutes here with us. But first, if you're just tuning in, or if this is just your first time catching the show, if you're watching it live, definitely hashtag live. And if you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay. It's been a while since we've been here on season one, but we always want to recognize all of our viewers, supporters who've been able to make this possible. And two, as a reminder, I also want to recognize our fire conversation with the ever so ambitious Miss Melody Mendoza Auslander. She's the founder and CEO of Labitri Filipina, an athleisure wear product who spoke about her journey as an aspiring Filipina in the overly competitive textile and retail industry. Her insights and perspective on entrepreneurialism was so eye-opening and inspiring, and I welcome all of our viewers to go back and catch the episode. But today, we have a very influential Filipino who has made waves wherever he has been. But now he's changing the way we hear Filipinos. He's a lifelong broadcaster and now the CEO and president of Parkway Media's Partners LLC, who owns and operates PHLV Radio. This is an app that dishes out the Filipino radio experiences right from the heart of Las Vegas. His company is also engaged in worldwide licensing and distribution of media content, and the company that now runs a division helping companies and organizations create and distribute podcasts. He's the current president of the Filipino American Media Association of Nevada. But before moving to New York, he took on different roles as a campaign specialist as the New York Philharmonic Orchestra at the Lincoln Center of Performing Arts, and held previously different roles in TV and radio management in Manila for various broadcast networks like ABS-CBN, PBN Broadcasting, and home radio chain of FM station. So please smash those heart buttons for the new king of radio, Mr. Johann Sayson. See if you can bring him on here.
Alvin.
Hey, what's going
Hey,
on, Johan? How are you
what's
doing,
going
buddy?
on?
How's
Yes,
Las Vegas? Is it
excited to
burning?
be here, Alvin. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here. You're such a visionary in the aspects of media, and I really am so excited to have you on here. Just talk about your story, about where your inspiration came, and just give our viewers some, I guess, hope for the future. But I read off your background a little bit. Could you tell us more about what you do, how you do it, and where you're going?
Where am I going? Okay, Kuya Yo. Some of them call me that here on the radio. Um, Basically, I'm a lifelong storyteller, Alvin. I've been telling stories through broadcasting, started with radio and then TV. And, now technology brought me to streaming and on demand content creation. Not necessarily being in front of the camera. I do not have a blog myself. I do not have a lot of programs myself, but my focus is actually to enable other people to tell their stories. And that's why, as CEO of Parkway Media Partners here in Las Vegas, we help other companies and nonprofits or individuals, create and distribute podcasts and other digital or social media content. And along the way, we created PHLV Radio for the Filipino Americans here in Las Vegas and
Mhm.
basically here in the US. It's a new kind of radio. It's visual, digital, streaming, and, a radio you listen via the app of PHLV Radio.
So, we talk about media, entertainment, just sharing stories. But how did you get yourself? Have you always wanted to be in radio? Have you always wanted your voice to resonate throughout the world?
Well, it started early. I was doing this since high school, doing some radio and then
Mhm.
eventually TV. Yes, I could say that I really wanted to be on radio. And at first, I was doing some DJ work here and there
Yeah.
in the early days. We had turntables during that time, Alvin. We didn't have CDs during that time. And that gives you an idea how long it has been. But it has evolved in so many years, and I still find myself back to radio. And they say, once a radio guy, always a radio guy. So I guess I'm back.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember turntables. I mean, I think Fruity Loops really destroyed it when they became digital, and people were mixing on Macs instead of
Right,
like turntables.
right.
Oh, that's it. It's so interesting. I mean, you say that because again, art. It's a form of art. It's a form of entertainment. You put yourself out there, hoping people will be amused or you can entertain people, and I think that's important, especially for a lot of people who see Filipinos in a different light.
Mhm.
APIs and Filipinos aren't usually represented in media. So, can you talk about some of your, I guess, struggles or barriers that were difficult to deal with as you were going through radio and broadcasting?
Well, as you know, it has been changing over the past few years. Traditional
Mhm,
media, I was with radio, traditional terrestrial radio, and television. There has been waning interest on traditional radio and television. In 2017, that's when traditional media and digital media kind of went equal in terms of daily consumption. And come 2020 during the lockdowns, bye bye. I mean, like, there you go. Digital media, social media, and all on demand content just took off. So that was primarily the struggle in the industry as far as the terrestrial media is concerned. And
mhm.
the tri media, including the newspaper, has been getting a hit because of social media and on demand non-linear content that's available online. Everyone is consuming media in a different way. So I guess the important thing here is that how these companies are able to pivot and how they're able to adapt to the changing times.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think that's important now because, yeah, I mean, the pandemic really accelerated technology. It made us, forced us to really find different ways to connect, to communicate, and that's kind of where, I found PHLV Radio, with all of your, I guess, lineup of Filipino podcasts, giving voices to different individuals in different industries. Where did the inspiration for PHLV Radio started?
Well, as you know, the goal is to empower people to have a voice, and for us to enable them to have a platform for
Hmm.
their ideas, for the information that they wanted to get to the public. Especially during the pandemic, Alvin, I saw that people really wanted to share information. They really wanted to share not only information, but they wanted to share value. They wanted to share inspiration. So that's where we got that inspiration in creating PHLV Radio. Because before this, we were doing podcasts and doing other content, but we thought of like, hey, this revolution that's happening right now, we got to have the Filipino Americans in on this thing.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make a platform for the Filipino Americans to play around with and to be present and to explore possibilities as far as media is concerned. So that was the purpose why in the first place I leaped into being an entrepreneur because of that purpose, and we wanted to create this thing for the Filipino Americans so that we could get ahead of the curve, not
Yeah.
only as consumers or viewers or listeners, but we want the Filipino Americans to be creators themselves.
Mhm. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think it's really important. Filipino American history isn't. We're more than just a footnote. We're part of the fabric of this country, and a lot of people don't know our stories. And I think it's really important that you said you were a storyteller because that's how um, 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 people are recognized. People's achievements they're done by stories, and I think it's really important. And it's very it's a great thing that you've done and created a platform for a lot of people to be able to share their stories with the world. For me, I'm also on PHLV Radio with my podcast, Smart People Travel Wise, and I didn't realize how many people are yearning for information. Like you talked about on demand. There's so many people in the world looking for information. You'll be surprised the audience that you can attract. But I love that. I love how you've been able to do that. So for all of our viewers, how many shows or episodes or do you have on PHLV Radio?
Well, before the pandemic, we had about 10 or 11 shows on
Mhm.
PHLV Radio. Well, just for those who haven't discovered PHLV yet, PHLV Radio is a 24/7 FM like service on the app. We have the PHLV Radio app. So there's music going on there 24/7, and there are special programs. And
Mhm,
those special programs, when people come over here at this studio, we have a show from Jokoy's mom.
mhm,
She comes over here and does a show, and we have shows via Zoom and other platforms like Alvin's show. When
mhm.
they come on, they are also streaming on the PHLV Radio app, the audio version of it. But of course, this is a visual radio. And as you can see, when people come over here to be interviewed, they say, like, hey, I thought this was radio. Why are there cameras right here? I didn't do my hair. So it's such a new kind of radio that we've put on. So during the pandemic, when everybody was hunkering down, we almost tripled that number. We have about 32, 33 visual programs now,
Mhm.
not counting the audio only programs that are present on the app. So when I say visual programs, the visual programs are found on social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube, and also we are on OTT platforms, over the top platforms like Amazon Fire TV.
Mhm.
It's there, so you can watch Alvin and the award winning Smart People Travel Wise of Alvin Adriano. It's on Amazon Fire TV too. So we're about 30 plus shows now, Alvin.
That's awesome. Awesome. And I think that's so important because, during the pandemic, a lot of people had a lot of time to think about what they wanted to do, how they wanted to connect because we were all in lockdown. And
Mhm.
this was a pivotal resource for me to reach out to my clients, to those who are looking to travel. And I think it's important for others to realize that they were given a voice that they can spread. So, when we talk about these lineups, what type of content are Filipinos creating? Cooking shows,
Mhm.
opinion editorials. What kind of shows can we expect on your lineup?
The programs and their content uh, are mostly featuring human stories. And
Mm,
it's a great thing because they come on board to share, to inform, and most of all, to inspire other people. Like you inspire other people to travel.
mhm,
It's a great thing. Some people have been inspired to take on new hobbies, for example. And we have a great show. It's called Fila Musica. We just started having people sing there. You
mhm.
don't have to be a singer. You don't have to be. You just have to be present and sing. So those are the content that's found on PHLV Radio, mostly about the Filipino American community. We started
Yeah.
off by being centric on the Filipino American community here in Las Vegas. As you know, I always believe radio is always local, and
Yeah.
hence the name PHLV, LV for Las Vegas, PH for
Mm,
Philippines. And so now we've evolved into creating programs for the Filipino Americans in general. Like
mm.
you're coming off from Maryland, and your content is, of course, it's a wide content. Everybody wanted to find out, hey, can we travel back again?
Yeah.
Can we go on cruise ships again? So that's what it is. So those are great content on PHLV Radio, especially for the Filipino Americans, because I think it creates a sense of unity, and
Mhm.
most importantly, um, you know, the feeling of being home, in the Philippines. That's why the tagline, it's just like a friend from back home. You,
Mhm.
you hear that on the jingle of PHLV Radio, just like a friend from back home. Because when you
Yeah.
listen to PHLV Radio, we have hosts that are Bisaya. I am I am Bicolano.
Uh,
Yeah, we feature artists from Davao, from
yeah.
Manila, and everything in between. It to you know to we actually bring the Filipino radio experience to the U.S. Because I don't know if I know you didn't grow up in the Philippines, Alvin, but when in the Philippines, there's such a romantic relationship with radio.
Yeah.
We love our radio personalities. There are staple programs.
Mhm.
There's what we call panawagan, public
Yeah.
public service.
Yeah.
And people come on, they call, they chat with the DJs and everything. We try to bring that experience here
Mhm.
in the United States. So when you get on board PHLV Radio, not just on the Facebook programs, because a lot of people know us because of our Facebook programs, But
Mhm.
try the radio service that we have on the PHLV radio app. It's going to bring you home.
I love it. I love it. I understand the feeling of Philippines. I went to school there, but I can relate because it is a different feeling. It's a different
Yeah.
emotional connection that you have. The way that they see radio, that the way that they connect with the broadcasters. It's such a fluid thing, and I love it, especially the way that you're saying because when you see some of these shows, it's very nonchalant, informal, just um, very real and authentic.
Mhm.
And I think for you, when you first started PHLV, it was a vision, but how have you seen the impact it has had on Filipino Americans having a content that's made for them in America? Have you seen the influence and impact it has on people?
Well, we've seen people sharing content for fellow Filipinos, and the feeling is so profound. I mean, we have programs that share information about, during the pandemic, for example. We have a show from the Asian Community Development Council. They connect people to resources.
Mm-hmm.
During the time, this program connected people to food pantries.
Mm-hmm.
They connected people to medical information and to vaccines, to everything that they need. So I see the goodness in people trying to help each other, and I am happy that somehow PHLV Radio is there to facilitate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's when we went to lockdown, when the world was forced to stand still, communication through screens, through media was the only way people could connect. I think with the explosion of virtual rooms or virtual events, these things have been able to keep people's mental health in check because we need to talk. We're a species of people that explore, communicate, and I think it opened up so many more opportunities for Filipinos who never thought possible. For me, I never thought I would be in broadcasting. That was never my thing. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. But bring light to, inspiring others to travel was something that I love to do.
Mhm.
So for you to be able to do that, harness and leverage other people's, I guess, skills, abilities, expertise, and then put it on radio for people to share. I think that's how our community as Filipinos will continually grow because information is key to our future. You see it with Google and Apple, how they use content in a way where they can predict or forecast the future. So I would like to ask you, with all this information now that on-demand media is coming, what's the future of PHLV? Where do you see you guys growing in this industry and innovating?
Well, right at the bat, PHLV Radio, as I told you, was created for basically the Filipino Americans here in Las Vegas, hence the name
Hmm.
PHLV. Now we've been expanding to other cities as well. We have content from Florida, and the branding of that producer is PHFL for Florida.
Wow.
PHFL. And now we are producing shows from Los Angeles, and we're going to brand that service from Los Angeles PHLA Radio. So wherever we're going to go, we're going to take that brand. We're going to go to Maryland, probably. We're going to go to you. We're going to go to New York, PHNY Radio.
Hmm.
So that's where we're taking PHLV radio because we found that local Filipino American communities, they have a lot of events. They have a lot of great things that are happening. Just in Florida, they're going to be having a Phil Fest next week, and then other things happening in Oregon as well. And of course, LA, the whole of California, there's like millions of Filipinos there, million plus Filipinos. So we'd like to be able to scale PHLV radio to have local content from wherever Filipino Americans are.
Oh
So
wow.
yes, that's why we're inviting people to reach out to us and create your content and hop on board PHLV radio,
Mhm.
or if you're in LA, PHLA radio, and Maryland, you are there already.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to see how you guys are going to grow because again, voices people need to hear, communicate, listen to each other. And the definition of being able to do so on the radio is, that's the original way that people used to communicate. And I think you bridging the modern world with the social media platforms, with radio. I mean, it's going to be great for our community, because as we all know, AAPIs are not evenly represented in media.
Right.
And I believe you being able to do that, going to local markets, giving them voices, allowing them to share their content and their perspective is going to be huge, for the confidence and for the, I guess, how Filipinos are going to be looked in the future. Us being able to control the content that we put out there, having a platform like PHLV, LA, DC, Florida, wherever, will give us a lot more control of how we want to be perceived in the media. So I love that. Um, During the pandemic, you talk about, you skyrocketed 300%, you grew um 32 podcast shows. Is Was there any other ways that you guys innovated or you guys pivoted during the pandemic?
It's amazing that we all learned to do Zoom and those other platforms like where we are right now.
Yeah.
Um, Before the pandemic, we didn't even entertain all those all virtual platforms. We wanted everyone to be here at the studio for the quality of it and everything. But
Yeah.
the mantra during the time was to be able to create a space where people will feel they are together despite being alone.
Wow.
So we wanted, we put it up here in the studio, the phrase alone together. So we wanted to remind all the producers that, hey, it's okay. We can use Zoom. We can use Messenger. We can use whatever other platforms that you know of. Let's do it. Let's just be present. So, in other
Hmm.
words, we wanted to be present, and we made that a priority over technical quality. So
Hmm.
we just wanted to everybody to come on board, like, hey, you want to sing, come on over here. So you know how it is in Zoom,
Yeah.
sometimes the connection is not that good. But mind you, last year in 2020, that was gold. Everybody, hey, somebody's singing on the radio. Let's listen, let's watch, and let me sing too.
Yeah.
So that's what we did last year. We sort of uh, uh, made it available to everyone, and we intend to do that even as we get out of the pandemic. You are welcome to come on board anytime here at PHLV Radio. We have a lot of programs where you can be a guest, where you can share your talent. If you have information to share to the Filipino American community, come on in.
Awesome. I love that. I love how you are welcoming open with open arms, people who are willing to create content, because I think it's hard for people to reach out and break themselves when they don't have a role model or someone that they can see in media. But that's changing, and it's
Yep.
changing, and you're providing a door for them to enter. So I mean, entertainment isn't as open for AAPIs, especially Filipinos. What type of advice would you share with people who are aspiring to enter the entertainment industry?
To enter the entertainment industry, well, be like Alvin. Alvin's creating a lot of content. It's great. And, now you're an award winning podcaster. Congratulations, by the way,
Thank you
Mr.
again.
Alvin Adriano. Well, well, it doesn't, one of our hosts here, I'll just, I'll tell you a little bit of a success story with Kuya J, one of our hosts here. He started off as a guest. He was a or he is a vocalist for a band here in Las Vegas. So I interviewed him, and then he
Mhm.
kind of said to me like, "Hey, all I want for Christmas." That was about 2 years ago. All I want for Christmas is to be part of PHLV Radio. So okay, so a week after, I invited him over, and he thought that he was still going to be a guest. Little did he know that he was already a co-host for a show. So no training whatsoever. I put him on. He developed to somebody who's creating an impact in the community now. So if you have something to share, just be natural and go on ahead and share it.
Mhm.
um, don't worry about the technical stuff. We've got a team, we've got a whole room of technical stuff here that's going to take care of that. But all I can say is whether you do it through PHLV Radio or you do it on your own, you go into Facebook or wherever you wanted to go. I think two words: just be you, just be
I
who
love
you are.
I love that. I remember I don't know who said it, but there was a quote that said like, "You owe it to the world to be 100% yourself. No one
Right.
else can." And I think that's so true now. because people are so scared to be who they are. They don't know if, with all the likes and tweets and loves, and people are so worried about how they're perceived that they don't really look at how they want to show off their skills. There's too many people in the world to be afraid of what other people think. You'll find someone, and a community like PHLV Radio is definitely a place where you can find it.
I love it how
Um,
you said it, that it's a community. Yes, it is a community.
Yeah, it is because you see how people support each other. Filipinos in general, once we feel something that we love, we tend to hold it dear to our hearts. And something like this, being able to, you know, feel the emotional connection with radio here in the United States, to hear the dialect, the languages, art. I mean, those are all things that people don't realize are important, that are all around us, that make up our culture, our history, who we are as Filipino people. But yeah, I mean, we're such a romantic uh, country. I mean, everything we say, from songs to language. So I totally agree, how you've been able to communicate our values to the people in the world. So last thing, I always like to ask people. I know we are stuck in lockdown, but when everything opens up, where would you like to go next?
Well, I would like to be able to. Before the pandemic, we started to do some shows like the Man of the Street shows. We wanted to be able to go out and go to community picnics and everything. We're
Mhm.
started doing that again in some of the community events here in Las Vegas, and we would like to be able to amplify that. And not only here in Las Vegas, we already, as I said, we already have DJ Tara, who's in
Mm,
Florida. She will be emceeing the Phil Fest next week in Tampa, and
awesome.
there are other shows as well, other events in Oregon. We have Louis Roa out there
Mhm.
in LA. We've got Josh Anduit. So we're all over the place, and we wanted to be able to connect, not just virtually and physically, to everyone, to be able to communicate to the Filipino American community.
Awesome. And if any Filipino Americans are looking, or interested in creating content, do you have a social media site, website for them to reach out and connect with you?
Yes, phlvradio.com. That's all you need. That's where you need to go. Just send us a message from there, www.phlvradio.com, or email us at info@phlvradio.com, or send us a message in our Facebook. Our handles, our social media handles are all PHLV Radio all across Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Find us. And if you wanted to see see the content on the big screen, in Amazon Fire TV, you can also find us there. It's PHLV Radio as well. And also, if you have those Alexa devices, you can enable the PHLV radio skill on your on your Amazon account, so you can just call us up. And when Alvin comes on at 12 noon every Tuesday here in Las Vegas Pacific time, you can just say, Alexa, play PHLV radio. And magically, the award winning voice of Alvin Adriano will come on.
Oh man, hopefully it's my voice, no one else. Not the but yeah, thank you again for coming on, Kuya Yo. It's so I know you're such a busy person. You have so many shows, lineups, and things to do. For you to come on here and spend time and give us a little insight on the broadcasting world, I really, really appreciate it. Oh, and I forgot also, to all our viewers, if you don't know, he didn't mention it. You can also download the PHLV app on all
Yes.
iOS and Apple devices. So if you do want to get more content, definitely download the app. You'll have an assortment of all the roster of shows, and really connect with the radio station.
Oh, now you
Um,
mentioned the app, Alvin. I'd like to encourage everyone to go over there, because you can actually request a song. You can also go to our website
mhm.
and request a song. There's a tab there that says request. The songs that you love to hear, you can just look for it and request it, and the magic of technology will take care of it for you. You don't even have to talk to us. Just click like, hey, this is a song I want to hear. Click it, and it's gonna play it for you.
Wow, technology is
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
the digital
Yes.
jukebox.
Yes, it is.
So awesome. Well, Kuyo, thank you so much. Any final thoughts that you wanted to share with all of our viewers?
Well, Alvin, in broadcast, we always use the word transmission. My platforms like PHLV Radio may not be necessarily transmitting over the air like traditional radio and TV, but I hope you join me and all the amazing people here at PHLV Radio, including Alvin, of course, in continuing to facilitate the transmission, not of the virus, of course, but the transmission of the good in humanity by creating multimedia programs like this podcast by Alvin, so we can continue to inspire people. And with that, I want to thank you, Alvin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kuya Yo. I really appreciate your time here, and I definitely have to bring you on the show to give us more updates about what's going on with PHLV Radio. So thank you again for being here.
Pleasure.
So yeah, everyone, Kuya Yo is so insightful. He has an amazing voice and has a vision that is continuously going to grow. People or Filipinos like Kuya Yo is the reason why our Filipino community continues to grow. Diversifying media is something that really need right now, exposure and visibility. And I hope all the viewers can help support initiative and activities like PHLV Radio. It's truly important to be represented in the media and for everyone to hear our stories and our perspectives. Next week, we'll be hosting a very influential Filipino who has been able to celebrate Filipino American success. He has been the founder of the Outstanding Filipino Awards, TOFA, which is held annually in the Carnegie Hall every year. He has been a pivotal person in the representation of Filipinos in America. And Elton Luga is one of the most visible and selfless individuals for the Filipino community. We're going to chat with him next week and learn all about his story on celebrating Filipino entrepreneurs. So that's going to be on next Wednesday, November 3rd at 2 p.m. East Coast time. So be there or be square. Again, my name is Alvin Adriano, a Filipino entrepreneur, an advocate for our Filipino community. And if you love what you hear today, please #celebrate and let's keep inspiring. Oh, and one more thing. Birthday's coming up. I have a PhilPro fundraiser. PhilPro's a Filipino Young Leaders Program. It's a non-profit organization that I work for, volunteering my time, helping, motivating, inspiring Filipino leaders. I have a fundraiser that's going on right now. If you have some time, if you are okay with your finances and you're willing to donate and help inspire future leaders, please check out my newsfeed and help donate. But again, thank you again for being here. Till next time, Mubuhay.